The Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal are easily one of the most legendary tag teams in all of professional wrestling. Their hard-hitting and no-nonsense style, along with their amazing look, really did captivate wrestling audiences of the mid-80s and early 90s. Often imitated, the Road Warriors were one of wrestling's most sought-after tag teams. They were really that good. That being said, from around 1996 onwards, things weren't quite the same with the Road Warriors, whether you want to put this down to how they were booked or the personal issues that were going on behind the scenes. Hawk and Animal were still popular, but a lot of that old magic just wasn't there anymore. The decision was made then in 1998 to totally revamp the Road Warriors with an updated look, new entrance music, even a new manager. Enter LOD 2000, something that may have seemed like a great idea at the time, but in the end it wasn't the shot of adrenaline that would ultimately keep the Legion of Doom relevant in the years that followed. More so, towards the end of this run, Road Warrior Hawk was used in a storyline that some say was questionable, including Road Warrior Animal. So today's video will take a look at LOD 2000 in the WWF and explore this whole time period in Road Warrior history. In late 1995, the Road Warriors signed a contract with World Championship Wrestling, a company being managed at this time by one Eric Bischoff. While Hawk and Animal didn't manage to capture the WCW tag titles during this stint that began in 96, they did have some decent matches against Harlem Heat and the Steiner brothers. In the end though, the Road Warriors left WCW due to a contract dispute with Eric Bischoff. The men claimed that Bischoff had promised them more money and also the ability to sign with other companies in Japan. However, Bischoff denies that these agreements were ever put in place. After leaving WCW and finding independent bookings around the USA and Japan, the Legion of Doom returned to the WWF on the February 24th, 1997 edition of Monday Night Raw, totally decimating the Headbangers upon their return. The team went on to get a huge Road Warriors pop at WrestleMania 13 in their hometown of Chicago, and they stuck around to feud with the Hart Foundation. On the October 13th, 1997 edition of Raw's War, the Legion of Doom recaptured some of their old glory by picking up the WWF World Tag Championships when they defeated the Godwins. Things seemed to be going pretty well for Hawk and Animal. A new upcoming tag team within the WWF were beginning to establish themselves in late 97, the Road Dogg Jesse James and Badass Billy Gunn, collectively known as the New Age Outlaws. The Outlaws were a heel tag team. Their gimmick was more contemporary and modern in comparison to that of the Legion of Doom, and the Outlaws were trying to make a name for themselves within the WWF after having limited success with their previous gimmicks. Naturally, the New Age Outlaws would want to make a name for themselves by taking the tag titles away from the legendary Road Warriors, and this is exactly what would happen. The November 24th episode of Raw saw this new brash tag team take away the gold from Hawk and Animal, and 2 weeks later, the Legion of Doom also lost in their rematch against the Outlaws at In Your House D-Generation X. The December 15th, 1997 episode of Raw featured D-Generation X, Triple H and Shawn Michaels, taking on the Legion of Doom in the main event. The match ended when Chyna and the New Age Outlaws interfered, and after the bell had rung, Road Warrior Hawk got a haircut in the middle of the ring courtesy of the Outlaws, and Animal got powerbombed through a table by 4 guys. Never really had the Legion of Doom been embarrassed like this on TV before. The Outlaws and DX celebrated in the ring, as it seemed the era of the Road Warriors had ended, and we were now ushering in a new age of tag teams within the world of wrestling. Hawk and Animal attempted to get the titles back at the 1998 Royal Rumble, but due to Hawk being handcuffed during the showdown, the Outlaws were able to keep hold of the championships. The Legion of Doom were kept out of the title picture while the New Age Outlaws continued to grow within the tag division. The Road Warriors were on a losing streak. They had seemingly lost the ability to win matches, as commentators would say that 14 years of hard-hitting matches had now caught up with Hawk and Animal. The duo had one more chance to prove they still had it, a match for the WWF tag titles against the Outlaws on the February 23rd 98 edition of Raw. During this showdown, the Legion of Doom had the match won after nailing the Doomsday device. However, Hawk decided to celebrate early, which distracted the ref while Animal was attempting to get the pinfall win on the Road Dogg. This cost the Legion of Doom the tag titles, and it also seemingly cost the men their friendship. After the match, Hawk and Animal beat each other up in the middle of the ring. This was quite shocking at the time. Nobody thought the LOD would begin tearing into each other, but here it was happening before our very eyes. The crowd in attendance too didn't want to see this. They chanted LOD when the two men eventually stopped fighting. Fans wanted Hawk and Animal to stay together. We wouldn't see the Legion of Doom then for weeks on TV. We were all under the assumption that this once glorious tag team had now split up, and it was time for us all to move on. There was no question that the New Age Outlaws had the Legion of Doom's number on nearly every meeting they had together, so it seemed that the WWF were indeed going in a new direction, a direction that didn't involve the Road Warriors. It was surprising then when the Legion of Doom made a return at WrestleMania 14, but this wasn't the same Legion of Doom we were all accustomed to. WrestleMania 14, held on March 29th, 1998, would feature a tag team battle royal to decide the number one contenders for the WWF tag titles. The very last team to walk down to the ring were the Legion of Doom, now known as LOD 2000. Sonny came to the ring with LOD 2000, Hawk and Animal's new manager, and the Road Warriors themselves looked totally different, wearing new ring attires, helmets, new spiked vests. The Legion of Doom had gotten totally revamped for WrestleMania 14, even getting an updated version of their classic WWF entrance music. Now, yes, people will look back at these days and see LOD 2000 as a bad spot in Road Warriors history, but at the time, this looked completely badass. Even watching this back now, you can't say that the Road Warriors didn't get a huge pop when they walked to the ring. The crowd went absolutely nuts, and I still think the new attires made the Road Warriors look insanely cool. The inclusion of Sonny was questionable, but still, let's give it a chance here. LOD 2000 won the match and became the number one contenders for the tag titles. The question now, of course, is could the Road Warriors recapture that old magic and become the tag team we once all knew and loved? The next night on Raw, Hawk and Animal totally destroyed Los Boricuas, and after the match, Sonny formally introduced the team to audiences as LOD 2000. We would have to wait for nearly a month to see LOD 2000 again in action when they totally squashed the team of Roy Raymond and Frank Stiletto on an episode of Shotgun Saturday Night. The team went on to the UK's Mayhem in Manchester show to face old rivals, the New Age Outlaws. However, they were only able to win by DQ. Never mind though, LOD still had that tag title shot they earned at WrestleMania, ready and waiting for In Your House Unforgiven in April of '98. LOD 2000 teamed up with Owen Hart to take on the DX team of Triple H, Billy Gunn and the Road Dogg on Raw is War on the 20th of April 1998. There's something so odd about this image here. Road Warrior Hawk, Road Warrior Animal, Owen Hart and Sonny. It's such a strange team, but anyway, DX were able to win this match, giving LOD 2000 their first loss since reforming. At the Unforgiven show, LOD 2000 had seemingly won the tag titles, but the referee counted Hawk's shoulders down and not the Road Dogg's, even though Hawk clearly had a shoulder up. This meant the Road Warriors did not win the tag titles, proving that the WWF were still wanting to go along with this more modern New Age Outlaws tag team, even after repackaging the Legion of Doom. The May 4th episode of Raw saw LOD 2000 teaming up with the Disciples of Apocalypse to take on D-Generation X. The match ended prematurely when the DOA and the LOD couldn't coexist, and they started beating the hell out of each other on the outside of the ring. This set up a match between the two teams on the May 18th edition of Raw, a match that the DOA won. So as each week went on, you could see that this new Legion of Doom was maybe not going to have the same glory as what they once did. It did start off well. There were squash matches that harkened back to the old days of the Road Warriors, but as the weeks progressed, you could tell here that they were being used to get other talent over. The Legion of Doom continued to give new talent a rub by introducing Puke the very next week on Raw as an associate of the LOD 2000. Puke, real name Darren Drozdov, was brought into the company partially because of his ability to regurgitate on demand, and Droz was brought in to even the odds in the DOA vs LOD feud of '98. Droz and LOD vs DOA happened on the May 23rd edition of Raw, a match that LOD and Droz won after Droz got the pinfall win for his team. Over the Edge 1998 saw Hawk and Animal defeat 8-Ball and Skull of the DOA in a decent match, and the June 1st episode of Raw saw LOD 2000 and Droz take on the DOA in a Chicago street fight. The match ended early due to The Undertaker destroying everyone in sight as he searched for Vince McMahon in a completely unrelated story. The June 8th episode of Raw saw LOD get a shot at the tag titles in a triple threat tag match featuring the DOA and the New Age Outlaws. The Outlaws won this match, and just to get it out of the way, Hawk and Animal as LOD 2000 never did win the WWF tag titles. On the June 29th episode of Raw, LOD 2000 announced that they would be introducing us to their new manager. Sunny was released around this time due to a number of reasons. Mainly, she was having issues with addiction, she was having issues with Sable backstage, and she had also no-showed several house show dates. Road Warrior Animal had gone on record to say that Sunny leaving LOD 2000 was for the best. She was in no condition to continue in her job, a statement that would also hold true for his tag team partner, but more on that later. Did Sunny add anything to the Legion of Doom? Well, in hindsight and knowing what we know now, it's very easy to say Sunny's involvement was awful, but adding a female to the Legion of Doom on paper was a decent idea, I thought. Sunny coming out with the Legion of Doom at WrestleMania 14 did get a huge reaction, but all in all, I don't think Sunny really brought any kind of new dimension to the LOD. I always thought that Luna Vachon would have been excellent in this role, but anyway, getting sidetracked here. On the June 29th episode of Raw, Precious Paul Ellering was reintroduced as the manager of LOD, a great throwback here for sure. The DOA interrupted the reunion of Paul Ellering and the LOD, and it turned out that Ellering was actually now managing the DOA and not the Legion of Doom. The DOA and Ellering beat up Hawk and Animal in the ring, and in a way, this was also symbolic of the old days now being gone forever for Hawk and Animal. Paul Ellering revealed that it was personally hard for him to go up against Hawk and Animal during this time. He wasn't very fond of the creative decision to put him on any other tag team but the Legion of Doom during this time period. LOD continued to feud with the DOA on the house show loop in the run-up to Fully Loaded 1998, an event that again would feature another LOD vs DOA matchup. Before this match took place, Road Warrior Hawk was featured in the Brawl for All tournament, drawing in his first round match with LOD associate Darren Drozdov in one of the better fights of the tournament. At Fully Loaded, the DOA defeated the Road Warriors by doing the old switcheroo with 8-Ball and Skull, a tactic that was reused over and over again during this feud. The very next night after Fully Loaded then, the WWF started the storyline most remember from this era of the Legion of Doom, Hawk battling his real life demons to a worldwide television audience. Hawk was portrayed as intoxicated and clumsy, but what's so striking about this is that it happened out of nowhere. There was no slow build to this. 1 minute Hawk was fine at Fully Loaded, and the next night he was an absolute mess. The LOD had a tag match with The Nation on this night, and Hawk was so out of it that he didn't even tag into the match, and he also fell off the top rope when trying the Doomsday device, ultimately leading to The Nation picking up the win. The next week, Hawk apologised for his behaviour to the WWF fans, Titan Sports and Vince McMahon, before going to the ring to defeat Jeff Jarrett. After the match, Animal came down to embrace Hawk, and it seemed like this whole thing was over with, but no, it was really only the beginning. Southern Justice came down to attack the Road Warriors, which led to Darren Drozdov hitting the ring to make the save. The next week, LOD were set to take on Southern Justice to get a little revenge, but Hawk was again in a total state, falling off the rampway when the LOD's pyro went off. Southern Justice came down the ramp and began attacking Hawk, leading to Hawk getting carried backstage and Droz coming out to make the save for the Legion of Doom. The September 5th episode of Raw saw Hawk embarrass himself by coming out and dancing with the Oddities, leading to the Oddities pinning Hawk in a 6-man tag match. The October 12th, 1998 edition of Raw saw Animal and Droz take on the New Age Outlaws in a tag team match. Hawk came to the ring with Animal and Droz, and things once again seemed to be back to normal. Droz, however, was now in full Legion of Doom gear, and he was added to the team to add a little bit of stability to the floundering Road Warriors. Hawk went on commentary and explained he was getting over his issues, and he also explained that Animal decided to add Droz to the team to allow Hawk time to get better. 8-Ball Skull and Paul Ellering had a match with Hawk, Animal and Droz at WWF Judgment Day 1998, held in Chicago. The Legion of Doom won this match, but Droz poached the pinfall win away from Hawk, something that Hawk didn't seem to take too kindly to. As the weeks went on, Droz would begin blaming Hawk on losses, and it seemed like Animal would take the side of Droz during these disputes. The November 2nd episode of Raw in 1998 revealed that Hawk had again fallen off the wagon. He had a match with Droz on this night, and Animal stood by and allowed Droz to destroy Hawk in the middle of the ring. Some tough love being shown here. Eventually, Animal did get into the ring to put a stop to the beating, but he also screamed at Hawk and he walked back up the ramp with Droz. So here's another episode of Raw that everybody remembers, the November 16th edition. Droz and Animal were scheduled to take on the Brood, and it seemed that Droz and Animal were now the Legion of Doom. Hawk just couldn't keep things straight. During the match, Hawk walked out onto the stage and began climbing the Titantron. Hawk threatened to jump off the top of the structure, shouting he will go out in a blaze of glory. Paul Ellering and Animal tried to reason with Hawk, while Hawk shouted that Droz was misleading Animal. Droz ended up climbing up the Titantron, and while it seemed like Droz was attempting to save Hawk, it actually looked more like Droz pushed him off the Titantron. Hawk fell down behind the screen as Animal and Ellering rushed to the back. This was seen at the time as a little distasteful, but you can make up your own mind. Droz and Animal had a match against the Headbangers at the UK exclusive pay-per-view Capital Carnage, and after the Headbangers won the match due to a misstep from Droz, Animal and Droz began beating each other up in the middle of the ring. Road Warrior Hawk came down to the ring on the December 21st edition of Raw. Hawk said that he is now totally clean, and all this time it was Droz who was enabling and supplying him. Hawk said that Droz wanted him to look undependable in the eyes of Animal, which in turn would secure Droz a spot in the Legion of Doom. Droz came to the ring and attacked Hawk, and this led to Road Warrior Animal coming out to help his old friend by throwing Droz out of the ring. And that was it really. The story was over, and so was the Legion of Doom in the WWF for a little while. Hawk and Animal both left the WWF afterwards for a few months. So why the abrupt departure? Well, the whole Hawk storyline was something that both Hawk and Animal objected to, more so as time went on. Animal revealed that Hawk had some heat with Vince McMahon, and when the storyline was pitched to Hawk, he decided to do it in order to try and sort of get back into Vince's good books, much to the dismay of Animal. Animal said, "What they had Hawk doing in the ring was so close to home, it was almost like a mirror image. I said this is too much, this is opening up some old wounds that we were trying to put away. I felt bad for Hawk in that aspect. I'll tell you what though, it was done very well. I had a lot of people come up to me and ask if he really fell off the Titantron." Speaking on the Road Warriors DVD release, Jim Ross said, "I loved him, but unfortunately some of my more significant memories of Hawk were with him being messed up. I think we all knew it was time for him to get help and get off the road." Animal and Hawk left the WWF after this angle, as Animal put it, was all too close to home. It was distasteful to the Road Warriors, and the whole thing didn't do Hawk any favours. Fortunately, Hawk was able to turn it all around and he got himself back on track, but this storyline and angle, I believe, did a lot to hurt the legacy of the Road Warriors in the eyes of casual fans. The WWF wanted to blur the lines between reality and fiction, but some things just shouldn't be put on TV. And that's it really for the LOD 2000 and this 1998 run. As mentioned, the Road Warriors came back, but it was only for an extremely brief period of time. Pat Patterson and Jerry Briscoe dressed up as the Road Warriors in a match against Shane McMahon on the March 15th, 1999 episode of Raw. Hawk, Animal and Paul Ellering showed up and laid a beating into Patterson and Briscoe backstage. The March 29th episode of Raw saw the Legion of Doom take on tag champs Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett in a losing effort, and they were once again gone. 4 years later, the Legion of Doom made a surprise return on Raw to take on Rob Van Dam and Kane, and the ovation they got here was excellent, but nothing again came of this. The duo had hoped that this match here would help them get rehired by the WWE, but in the end, nothing came of it. Just 5 months after this matchup, Road Warrior Hawk passed away. Animal said that Hawk was 100% clean when he passed, not a trace of anything harmful was found in his body. Hopefully you enjoyed this look at what was maybe a questionable time in the careers of the Legion of Doom. I have some good news for you though if you enjoyed this video. I want to go back and cover the Legion of Doom's career in more detail. I uploaded a video towards the beginning of my time on YouTube here, and honestly I glossed over way too much in that upload. I hope to right the wrongs I made there by bringing a series of Road Warrior videos to the channel that does the tag team proper justice. So look out for more in the future. Thanks for watching.